So, yes, I will be recording. I just started. My name is Sally Lipsky. For if you don't know me, I am the founder and leader of Plant-Based Pittsburgh, also called Food for Health as the nonprofit part. So we are finishing up our third month in our Optimizing Your Health series. And the first 2 months, we're looking at eating one bite at a time in regards to your micro.
Go listen.
My blood sugar is 72, so I better eat.
Well, you better.
Somebody is not on mute.
Taking my insulin though.
Again, so we had done one bite at a time in January and February, and look, February was obesity, and we had 2 physicians talking. We had 2 excellent cooking demonstrations, and in March we're looking at the mind. We're looking at in the time of uncertainty that we're all in, and how we can be more at ease, how peaceful and more emotionally healthy, and looking at it in the sense of changing habits. And Linda Jones will be, in 2 weeks, we'll be doing our cooking demonstration for that one. So as we get started here, I will invite you, as I said, some of you just came in, if you want to get a piece of paper or pencil or a pen, because you'll be jotting something down. But what we do tonight will be recorded. The January and February meetings are all recorded. You can go to our YouTube channel. I will be sending everybody out an email tomorrow with some of the information from tonight and a link to the recording. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, let's start by saying this is me. So for those that don't, just real quickly, don't know my background, I was diagnosed with advanced ovarian cancer, and I had surgery, chemotherapy, and it's been 13 years since I've been in remission. Knock on whatever you can knock on. The thing about ovarian cancer is that it is resistant to chemotherapy and tends to come back. Recurring is the usual way that it is the usual for women who are late stage ovarian. So in 2008, I was in remission, but I felt like a ticking time bomb. And I felt I got this cancer, but I thought I was healthy, as we all do, with our lifestyles. I was exercising, eating lean poultry and fish and lots of dairy for that calcium, low-fat dairy. But as you can see, I was ever before any tests, oh my gosh, doctor's appointments, blood work, scans, I could really get myself up into a little tizzy there about always looking for that cancer to return. And I happened to, in 2008, several months after remission, it's like, read a story about food and disease. And it never occurred to me that there is a relationship between food and a chronic disease. And so I learned more and researched and went to conferences and got my certificate in plant-based. And the bottom line is, as an educator, I was a professor of education at that point, it was such a need to let other people know about how powerful food is. It, for me, to this day, I'm convinced it helped me keep cancer at bay, but it also helped me feel more control. Food gave me a sense of control over disease. Having said this, we'll enter part 2 of my story. And part 2, if I could, there you go. I'm anxiety girl, okay? it is just part of my being in nature. From a little girl, I can always remember having a sense of anxiety within me. And I have been to various ways, dealing with anxiety and cognitive behavioral therapy. And this year I really got into meditation. And I realized that through a sense of meditation and mindfulness, I'm reacting differently, that I am getting some more control over those embedded, deeply ingrained, deeply embedded thoughts and reactions. And knowing that, it also makes me more and more aware, because when I was in professor of education, my area of expertise was on adult learning and peer-to-peer learning. And so I'm familiar with what it takes, how you set up learning for adults. But this is the other layer. This is the important layer of how to really get your lifestyle change, really establish habits that work for you. So having said this, here is what we're going to do tonight. This is the first time I've done this, so I have to say this whole presentation gives me a sense of some anxiety. But having said this, we're going to go into a focused breathing for about 5 minutes. And then we'll briefly have a slide on what mindfulness, a slide of what self-compassion and some of those personal attributes for change, the positive and negative, and how you can change. We'll talk a little bit about your thought process and changing how your responses. We'll do another meditation practice based on that. And then we're going to end the last chunk of it is going to be about emotions and food choices, especially in regard to stress and the cycle of stress in your comfort foods. And I will have a slide on resources, which I will send to everybody tomorrow. So let us begin. And oh my gosh, settle into your chairs. Close your eyes. And all you have to do is breathe. So as you breathe in through the nostrils, just be aware of that breath moving up through the abdomen. And then exhale slowly and evenly, feeling that breath leave the body. So deep breathing is a feeling. So I recommend just putting your hands lightly on the belly. And instead of inhaling, if you're a chest breather, which we tend to do when we are anxious or ill at ease, feel the breath coming in through the abdomen as your abdomen moves out, up through the chest. And then as you exhale, feel the chest, feel that abdomen fall. Inhale, a deep sense of calm. Exhale, anything that doesn't serve you, just let it go. As you inhale, feel the expanse within your body. Exhale. When you exhale, you're triggering the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the part of you that is letting that stress out. Sometimes it helps to count. And in deep breathing, one goal is to keep your inhale slow and your exhale just as slow. So perhaps count slowly to number 4 on your inhale. And then letting the breath go, counting to 4 on the exhale.
1 Minute Drill is sponsored by stationpgmc.com.
Just I'll be quiet and let you just take a few moments of just focusing on deep, even, centering breath. Each of you do a little internal scan. Bring your attention to the very top of your head and just inwardly notice if your forehead is relaxed, the jaw muscles relax. Bring your attention down through your throat and into the shoulders. Feel those shoulder blades come down your back, releasing any stress. And then on your next exhale, bring your focus down through your chest, into the belly, and let any tightness just seep out through the hips. And then focus down and let the legs get heavy. Let the arms get heavy. And just let any tension drip out of your hands, your feet.
From the comfort of your home with your minimum purchase, receive a $100 MasterCard reward card to spend whatever you like.
Feeling a sense of calm, a sense of peace.
Educators become eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Everything you need to know.
Creating an internal openness, a readiness to learn and to explore tonight.
In Massachusetts, it's George Clooney. He's been in Boston for weeks now on a movie that he is directing. The movie action.
And then on your next breath, if you would very slowly open your eyes, bring yourself back to the present, and just take a moment and feel. So in the chat room, if you want to take a moment and what are your feelings now? What happened to you during that 6 minutes that we were doing deep breathing? If anybody wants, if you want to share it with others, you can, but certainly don't feel pressure to. Hopefully you're feeling very relaxed. Yes. Calm. Love it. And it does. You're right, Lisa. It is that sense of moment to moment, treasuring each moment because that's all we have. all we have. So let's move on. And what is mindfulness? So this is just very quickly, it's rather self-apparent, but it is the act of focusing, as I said previously, on each moment. Not looking as to what happened previously or thinking ahead, but it does allow you to step back from those thoughts, those feelings, and the reactions, especially those reactions that we're so used to, those negative reactions. So what it is doing is just sometimes it's only a matter of a second or two. You begin to better respond to an emotion as opposed to immediately reacting. But here's the key thing, you're retraining your mind. There's lots of science behind the importance of mindfulness and the power of mindfulness as being a tool to bring to your day-to-day awareness, to get a sense of equanimity, calm and balance. So it really is a tool, as I put here, to reduce some barriers or painful elements, restlessness. So if you take that concept of mindfulness and couple it with the concept of self-compassion, and what self-compassion is treating yourself like a friend. That's why I made that little graphic there. As if you would give your friend a hug, self-compassion is giving yourself the same openness, the same hug. Basically, it's accepting yourself as being human. The errors you make, the imperfections, we all experience it, we all were human. The benefits of self-compassion is the change that can come about because you are changing the neural pathways in your brain. And it's really exciting at any ages to read about how what you're doing on a regular basis can change the physiology of the brain. But the bottom line, it's creating a sense of balance and a sense of, I like the term resiliency, as you know this year, resilience, it's so crucial to be resilient because you don't know what life is going to hand you. And finally, we're going to talk about how do you achieve it? Well, we're going to do a little bit today, but it's part of it is practice, certainly, but also being able to step back and to realize, oh, this is my thoughts, these are my feelings, just as a self-awareness. Okay, so let's talk about how thoughts and awareness can create reaction. So I'm going to give you, if I ever, come on, there we go. Okay, I'm going to set you up. This happened last month. And I thought I have to add this to the slide tonight. So let's think of a typical February day in Pittsburgh. Oh, gray, cloudy, snow. It's just, oh my gosh. And I went to get my allergy shot. And I trudged in like, oh, feeling so down. So the seasonal affective disorder, just I could feel it physically, that emptiness. And when the nurse called me in, I came back and this is what she looked like. Smiling, upbeat, shots in hand. And I said, how can you be, how are you? And I said, how can you be so upbeat? And she said, And this is her exact words. This is my kind of weather, which was unbelievable to me. But yes, she said she doesn't like being.
Oh, you turn it off.
Pardon me? Somebody still, we still have, yeah, that she does not like to be hot and that she loves the snow. So here we have an example of the same situation and two completely opposite reactions. So with that thought in mind, we're going to move on to, okay, how can I be more aware of my thoughts and my reactions if I want to do, if I want to make changes, make life, bring some ease to my life. So there are certain attributes that tend to get in the way, become barriers to sustain self-change. And okay, there we go. Take several. Criticism, certainly. That self-criticism that pops up for some of us more than others, but comparing. Wasn't Theodore Roosevelt who said that comparison is the thief of joy? And it really is, especially during this time of social media. It's so easy to compare. That perfectionism, that's me. Judgment. Oh, the guilt. Yes, of course. And here's the mother of them all, shame, self-shame. So that's one end of the spectrum. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have characteristics that tend to promote self-change, sustain self-change. And those attributes include compassion, which we just talked about, some accepting who you are, as I said, accepting that the humanness of part of you, an openness or a curiosity about your life, about the world, self-love, which sometimes turns people off, like it's not unneeded self-esteem, but what it is sort of self-like. It is a sense of that, as I said earlier, that friendliness to yourself. And where does it all go? This is what I love. It's the self-care. And that's what we're here for. This one is the idea of changing habits, food choices, so that it promotes as self-care. So I'm going to move on here. Oh, here's a great quote from Oscar Wilde too. Be yourself, everyone else is already taken. Yeah, I like it. So part of that self-care is recognizing what you're doing that you want to change, and then coming up with a way that identifying a beneficial way to change. So let's start with thoughts. If we look on a continuum, we have what I call extreme thoughts. That this is the self-talk. This is how we say things from year after year after year. I have to, I should, I could have, I must, this is terrible, this never, need to, always, these. There's no room for slack. And what do those extreme thoughts tend to trigger is extreme responses. And as I said earlier, those responses are emotional and physical. So we're saying the words that self-talk matters because this is where those various degrees of fear, anxiety, pressure, anger, but also those physical, as I said earlier, I get the butterflies in the stomach. Some of us can't sleep, or appetite changes, we clench a lot. All these physical manifestations of these emotions stemming from our thoughts. So let me give you a few examples here. I have to cook a dinner my whole family will like. Okay. What's the response? There you go. Pressure. I shouldn't have eaten that cookie. Anger, shame. I must exercise 45 minutes today. Oh, frustration, I didn't, it's failure, loser. Okay, so that interplay of thoughts and emotions and ultimately your behavior can be, it can already create habits, good or bad habits, whatever it is, it does have an impact. So what can you do here is be aware of the thoughts. Practice of mindfulness combined with that practice of self-compassion, you start to recognize the thought and then be able to redirect, to make some changes into a friendlier self-care motive. So let's take those 3 examples that I just gave you. I have to cook a dinner my whole family would love. Now, how could I change that wording? I prefer, that's an powerful one. I prefer as opposed to have to. And remembering why everyone is there is to be with each other. I shouldn't have eaten the cookie. This weekend, I'm going to look at some recipes. And that's a key one here because you have a strategy. We're going to talk a little bit later about a proactive strategy. So that is really looking ahead to something that, oh, this might work for me. Let's explore. It's an openness. I must exercise, allowing yourself, recognizing that you're tired, and you can allowing yourself to not exercise and do it tomorrow. Much more gently. So let's take a moment here. This is where that paper and pencil comes in handy. Let's just do a little reflection for each one of you. Wow, this is fresh in your mind. Can you identify a situation where you had recognized that you had a negative or an undesirable emotion, and what were the thoughts, approximate thoughts that were going through your head? And then how could you soften? How could you change your thoughts to make it more compassionate for yourself? So I'm going to be quiet here just for a couple minutes so that you can think this through, because we're going to go into another meditation, but we're going to base that next meditation on what you identified. And I know this can be very personal, so just take your time and then we'll try it out in a minute or two. When no one's talking, a minute can seem like a really long time. Okay, so even if you haven't been able to think this all the way through, just whatever you have in your mind now, just keep it there, or what you have written down. Because I want to go into the next exercise where we do another meditation, a little bit different meditation, but it's more relying on self-compassion and friendliness to yourself. So this time there's all different ways to do self-compassion. Some of you might have already done this, but one way is also to incorporate a repetitive phrase or mantra. I used that word mantra when I wrote my book about changing habits, and I said, I really, really, really don't want cancer to come back. So you can have your own mantra. It could be just a word or a sound, but this is something that tends to help settle you, help focus your mind. And for tonight, I went with the expert Sharon Salzberg on loving kindness. And she uses these 4 phrases: may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, and may I live with ease. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just talk you through into another, closing your eyes, talk you through in another state of relaxation and meditation. And then I'll bring in those 4 phrases for you to focus on, and then bring in that exercise you just did from the previous slide and see where it takes you. And this will, 5 minutes is just a very shortened meditation, but it's a practice. It's trial and error. So once again, close your eyes, close your mind, just focus on the breath. Feel that breath rising up through your body. And then as you exhale, settling into the chair. Inhale a sense of calm, a sense of openness. And then exhale any judgment, anything that doesn't serve you, let it go. On your next breath, I'll say a phrase and you repeat it to yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. With each inhale, take in those words, feel them. And with each exhale, feeling more grounded. As you bring your attention to the reflection exercise, that situation where you didn't feel so good, those thoughts that were going through your mind, bring yourself there, bring yourself to that situation. We're going to get a chance to relive it in your mind. You can look and bring yourself what you were seeing, where you were, what you were feeling, and then those thoughts. Say the new phrase, say a compassionate phrase, a self-loving phrase. Allow yourself to recognize a sense of calm, a sense of peace as you repeat new words, different words, into that situation. Remember, gratitude seems to be one of the few transformational practices that unites people beyond beliefs, beyond words, beyond nation, race, and tribe. It is really that simple. When you have a heart full of gratitude, your behavior is positive and kind to yourself and to others. So just slowly open your eyes, thinking gratitude for yourself. And if anybody wants, again, to put in the chat room what they experienced during those, what was it? I guess it was 6 minutes again. And you don't have to, certainly. But hopefully you just get a taste of how you can combine the idea of meditation with awareness and change. Oh, nice, Patrick. Yeah. Inner calmness. Very good. So we're going to change gears just a little bit for the last 20 minutes here, because I want to put this into actual practice in regards to food choices. So I decided that we would look at stress, okay? And look at it in relationship to how our emotions impact our food choices when we're in a feeling all these negative emotions, the fear, the anxiety, the anger, the stress, the frustration, whatever. And how when we're feeling that, our immediate reaction, if we're going to grab something to eat or drink, they tend to be our comfort foods. And historically, not this group here, because I know you've been working on healthy full food habits, but historically, if you look back, tends to be highly processed, quick foods, high in the sugar, fat, and salt, and alcohol. So and it works, there's a reason. We've developed, that piece of cake, wow. I feel good. I feel energized. I feel better. And we are up for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. And then what happens? Oh, that's when our blood sugar gets uneven. We get very sluggish. It affects our cognitive skills. And really importantly, we feel that shame, that disgust, that frustration with ourselves. So, and what does that lead us? Okay, I'm stressed now. I'm going to go right back in and redo that whole circle. So we can intervene. The more aware that we are in what we're doing and those thoughts and that feelings, let's look at some ways to intervene. So just real quickly, comfort foods are foods that we grew up with in a sense of what? They're familiar. They have pleasure associated with them, or celebration, or, it might be nostalgia with them. So it is a history that is behind, whether it is a family, the culture, friends, whatever. It is history behind those comfort foods. And here is key. Emotions create habits. So to get long-term habits, that if we want to make some changes, it seems to me to be important to look at the emotions behind that. So here are the 4 steps for changing habits. The first 2 really have to do with what we touched on tonight, which is being aware of emotions and being aware of our responses, and practice new responses. And that's that awareness, that's mindfulness, that self-compassion coming in. And that's all well, but we want to take action. We want to be more proactive. So number 3 and 4 are more into, okay, what steps can I take now in my lifestyle changes? So in regards to comfort foods, it would be to prepare with alternate different ones, have them, and then to try it out and to just, if you'd like it or need it as needed, assess your situation. So given our time constraints tonight, I thought we would just look at 5 categories, the most common categories of comfort foods. And then I'm going to let you do some work here, help each other. What are some alternative choices? So if I immediately go to that Snickers bar, okay, what are some things I could have ready instead of that, 12-pack of Snickers bar? For me, it would be cacao, raw cacao, or 72% Trader, and have little pieces ready. So what I would like you to do, Marcia already began with fresh fruit. So take a category or two and think, what do I do? What can I do? What has worked for me? Because I want to put this in tomorrow's email and say, oh, this is what Marcia said, instead of sweets, she, of course, gets some fresh apples. Kathy says dates with apples. Oh, dates. Oh, yes. Without oil. Yes, Kathy. Peanut butter. Oh, I'm eating them right now. Okay. Oh, dried. You know what? That's a good idea, Beth. I just got into dried mango that I can keep and just gnaw on. It takes, this is like 9. That's a good idea. Anybody else? Ice cream for me, I do that. The bananas, the very ripe bananas in my freezer. I always have them in my freezer, and they go into nice cream. Yeah, put in some berries, whatever that you would like to. How about crisp, salty, crispy snacks? Ooh, chocolate covered fruit. Kylie, I want some. Potato wedges. Yes, gray granola, Kathy saying, almonds. I take potato skins. I have Asian potatoes there, and I just have the skins that I can put in the air fryer, and it gets really, you have to watch those. I've overdone them quite a bit, but they get so crisp. Kale chips, yes. Okay. Homemade tortilla, oil-free hummus, and Mary's crackers. I love it. Yeah, air fried corn tortillas cut in triangles. Well, keep, if other things come to mind, just keep, oh, and the cheesy and the creamy, probably, creamed, made out of cashews or potatoes, butternut squash, all those alternative creaminess that you can get. So where are we going here? Bottom line, if you want to create healthier habits, and by the healthier, we're focusing on self-care. Okay, something that you want that would do good for you. Then you know that we're all human, so we're going to experience stress. We're going to experience fear, anger, sadness, anxiety. It's nature. It will happen. But how we react is something else. So if we have healthier comfort foods that we know we can go to that are minimally processed and lower in salt, fat, sugar, even drinks. I didn't say drinks, but alcohol. That what that's going to result in, the effect is we're going to physically feel better. We're going to have energy. We're cognitively, we're going to be more alert. And then emotionally, we're going to feel better with ourselves. And that gives that big smiley face. So what we're doing is recreating a sense of ease, health, happiness, and stability. We really are. So here are some. I could add more, but this will get started. And some of you people here that are listening, I know use 10% happier. And as I said, I'm going to send this to you with the links to the websites. And there are some apps, the first two that you can use on your phones. There are books that you can go to. There are podcasts that you can listen to while you're cooking, around the house, walking. And all of these people here are really, and all these associations here are really very helpful. That's the only word I can say. Very helpful. And whatever you end up wanting to do, if indeed you choose to become more mindful, make some changes. Finally, we have 10 minutes left here. Good. So in the chat room, there are two questions I'm asking you. What questions do you have of me or others? And what is one thing you learned? Sally, you could and should be a nap. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Right, Patrick. Always a way to flip this. Well, always is others extreme, but there's a way. Yes, you can flip the script on negative self-talk. Beautiful. It is. If you're too busy, you should sit for an hour. Yeah, you, Kathleen, it can help. A mantra can help, certainly. I'm glad, Kylie. That gave you some sense of self-compassion, sense of joy. Yeah, practice there's no way getting around practice. Linda mentions the practice. There really isn't. And practice doesn't have to be every day, but if it becomes part, like I know around 3 p.m. on a day-to-day basis, 3 to 4, right when that late afternoon, when my energy is going down, and that is in my mind triggers, oh, time to do a meditation, even if it's only for a minute or two. I am all I need to be. That's right. Thank you, Katie. Oh, I'm glad. Lynn, you use your cooking for meditation. I'm glad. I have not gotten there. I use yoga. I tell you, yoga has been a lifesaver for me. And it does sort of instill that idea of yoga in it. Well, thank you. So I'm just going to have one other meditation one other saying. Well, I'll have two. I'm going to start with Eleanor Roosevelt. Happiness is not a goal. It is a byproduct of a life.
Can you turn that
well
on?
lived.
This is almost over.
So hopefully you keep that in mind as you go about your day.
Sally, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There was
Okay.
there was an interruption.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody had their something. Okay. Happiness is not a goal. It is a byproduct of a life well lived. So we focus on living our lives well, moment to moment. And the next one is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Some pursue happiness, others create it. So it is that power of within yourself to create a sense of happiness, equanimity, and ease. So if there are no questions or anything else to share, that is it. And you're going to get to sign up for the next cooking demo. Whoa. I'll send that link to you tomorrow also. Thank you, everyone. This was an experience for me too.
Thank you, Sally. That was great.
Thank you,
Oh,
Sally.
you're so welcome.
Thank you, Sally.
Plan carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to help pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking, maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
I was skeptical, so I did some research. They explain life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payment. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement.